your question. What advice would I have for first-time home buyers? That's a good question. As an investor, I think 2 points. The first point, learn the difference between a market crash and market corrections. The second point is take a different perspective on mortgage rates, on the average interest rate. When you look at average interest rates, you should be looking to compare your mortgage rate to the rate of appreciation in a given community, in that local community. But let's first talk about point number one. Learn the difference between a market crash and a market correction. Real estate is like any other asset class. The market sometimes crashes, the market is always correcting. A market crash in real estate is basically the result of lenders restricting loans to qualified buyers. When lenders pull back their ability to lend to qualified buyers, it greatly decreases the supply of buyers, and that ultimately causes a crash. A market correction is different. A market correction occurs, for example, with supply and demand of available inventory. Real estate transactions travel up and down just like any other asset class. There are peaks and valleys. In situations where the inventory is low and demand is high, the market corrects and creates a peak and prices increase. When inventory is high, supply is high, and buyer demand is low, it corrects a valley and prices decline. And you're going to see that occur throughout a given trend or a measured period in real estate markets. And the difference is crash, something catastrophic, versus a correction. I would recommend that you learn the difference between a crash and a correction. Take advantage of market corrections. The second point is, when you look at an average interest rate, the average consumer today, today's home buyers, today's consumers, they look at interest rates in terms of what it might do to their monthly payment. How does this interest rate impact the purchasing power that I have, and specifically, what is my monthly payment? What I would recommend as an investor is take a look at your interest rate that your lender has given you and compare that to the rate of appreciation in that market, in that local market. Your local realtor should be able to tell you what the rate of appreciation is in that neighborhood or in that community. If the rate of appreciation is greater than your average interest rate, then you have what's called a buy signal. If the average interest rate that you're receiving is higher than the rate of appreciation, then you have a sell or hold signal. So for example, if your lender tells you that your interest rate is 6.7% and the community where you're intending to buy is appreciating at 10 to 12% annually, then you have a buy signal. If your interest rate is 7% and the community is only appreciating at 3.5%, then you have a hold signal. And we can talk more about that later. But as an investor, the two pieces of advice that I would share with first-time homeowners, home buyers, is simply this. Learn the difference between a market crash and a market correction, and take a different perspective on how you look at your interest rate.